Okay, welcome to a new episode of Farm Like a Hero, folks. I'm Richard Perkins. Today I'm here with Jenny and Andy Macdonald from Woodside, Arran, located on the Isle of Arran in the west coast of Scotland. Living remotely with a lack of access to good food and products, I was really inspired by the food truck delivery service they created to start selling their products alongside other producers' goods. Started in 2017 as a community interest company, the farm is 32 hectares, run by Jenny and husband Andy, and an additional manager. The farm has free-range laying hens, a market garden, and operates a mobile sawmill. So you guys, thanks so much for taking the time out to join us today.
Hello there.
So please tell us a bit about the Isle of Arran, because that's quite a remote place in terms of the UK. How did you end up there?
On a whim. It wasn't very sensible. We were meant to move to another island and turned up for a job interview with a house and all nice sensible things, but it just didn't, like within 5 minutes it just didn't feel right. We kind of looked at each other and went and then had a few days off work, so thought, oh right, rather than going home, the children are asleep and the ferry for Arran runs, let's just go there for 2 days. And within about 20 minutes of getting off the ferry, we both just went, oh, I love this here. And so
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even in the rain with the midges, it was beautiful.
So rather than moving to the place with a job and a house, we just sold everything and moved here.
No job, no nothing.
And a 3-month-old baby. So that was sensible. But sometimes, you've just got to take those mad notions, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Where were you living before?
So we were in the Scottish borders, about half an hour south of Edinburgh. We'd been there for maybe 2 years after. We grew up there, but we'd been down in Devon and down in the southwest. Came back up due to family health reasons, but just knew we weren't wanting to settle there at all. And also didn't want to be 8 hours away if somebody got unwell again or there was a family emergency. So that's how we ended up here. We're suitably far away that we don't get enough visitors, but not so far away we can't get to where we need to go in a panic. So it was a middle ground.
Well, it's super interesting. There's lots of elements I'd like to talk to you about regarding island life, because it's something that's appealed to me that I've not actually pursued yet. But I'm curious, firstly, just to hear a bit of your backgrounds, because you've brought different work skills with you to set up this project. Could you give us like a summary of what you were doing before?
So before, I started life as a gardener, landscape gardener. So done that until it was too sore in the body. And then I ended up into mental health nursing. So they paid you to study, so I thought that'll do. So the plan was to nurse in the winter time and landscape garden through the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So that lasted a while, and then the paperwork and just general bureaucracy was just disgusting. So I ended up back in farming and gardening after about a 3-4 year stint in nursing. And then when we came back up the road from Devon, I happened upon a sawmill, a beautiful sawmill in Carnwath, the wood place, wonderful. They just specialise in hardwood, and my friend was working there, so I ended up just fancied a change. I've always wanted to build our own house, and just what I thought, started with the sawmill would be a good place to start, working with wood. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and then what did we do?
Well, you grew up in a small
Oh yeah.
Farm,
Sorry.
Andy's really instinctual with animals. He's got that. You can tell somebody that grew up with animals, and that's very much.
I forgot about that. So yeah, I grew up in a small hold in Dam Head, so that's about 4 miles outside of Edinburgh. And then when I was about 12, when my mum and dad bought a farm, is only 22 acres outside of Peebles, so that's just about 24 miles away from Edinburgh. It's a nice little microclimate, lovely place. So we had grown up with the sheep and Highland cows, and so kind of the usual chickens and whatnot kicking about. So
it wasn't really a business.
No, it wasn't, but it was more a hobby. My dad's retired, so it was a hobby for my dad. So it was a kind of, wasn't business sense, and my dad's always quite scared of turning farming into business because I always knew he thought there was no money in it, and but here we are.
Ignoring parental advice and trying it anyway.
And what about for you, Jenny? Because you were working more with when you were a herbalist?
Yeah, so my degree was in herbal medicine and nutritional medicine. So I've always had my grandmother has the most amazing garden, but of course you become a teenager and you're not interested in any of that or any of the skills that these people could have passed on to you. But Andy's mum was quite interested in herbal medicine, and we've been together for a really long time, and she convinced me to do this herbal medicine degree because I always fancied doing medicine, but I was more interested in being a doctor than that. But long story short, ended up falling in love with that and the plants and learning quite a lot of practical skills and botany and all that kind of stuff through that, and then found my childhood love for gardens. I can't say I'm not much for flowers or perennials. If you can't eat it or turn it into medicine, I'm not really that interested. So did a bit of freelance gardening, and then had my own clinic and stuff with that. But then my kids came along, and we knew for a long time that we wanted a piece of land, but land access is a major issue. It's so expensive, and we tried down in Devon, never really worked out. Came back to Andy's parents' farm, but families are an interesting an interesting issue with succession and things like that. And so just tried a few different things, but then, as I say, ended up on a whim with our boys moving here, and worked on some community projects, community gardens, things like that. And we're actually in a fairly horrible wee tiny flat, kind of miserable, because there's almost no houses to rent on the island. It's all second homes and very expensive. We're second only to London in the disparity between wealth and house prices.
Wow, okay.
It's like 8 to 1. So it's really, really tricky to find accommodation here. So we were grateful we had something, but we've been driving. Am I talking too fast?
She talks too fast. Slow down.
Andy had been driving back and forth past this piece of land for about 6 months, and kept nobody's in that farm, Jenny. I really like it.
The farm was just sitting in rack and ruin. There was brambles up the walls, and it's like it'd been sat empty for about 6 years. And so I kept saying to Jenny, I said, "Come on, we're trying to find the man who owns that, or the person who owns that, please." And Jenny, God bless her, she'd a whiz on the computer. Took her about 2-3 months, tracked the owner down, and he was living in Dubai. And he just split, as you do, spare farm. He shut the door 6 years ago when him and his partner split up, and kind of only ever came back to play golf. And that was it. So you find him, and he said, luckily enough, he's going to come over and play golf. I'll meet you in 4 weeks' time, and negotiated. So negotiated for it was just we've got a massive shed. There's like a gun room in the shed. It's just ridiculous. It really is. You have to kind of nip yourself. It's like a dream. Yeah. The view's spectacular. The woodland around it. We've got a pond. How big's the pond?
It's a big pond.
Big pond. So I thought,
a good fifth of an acre pond.
Oh, maybe it's huge. So I kind of just cheekily said, would you like to rent the place? And the guy said, oh yes, why not? And he asked me what we're paying in rent at the time, and as you do, tell a little white lie, and said that I was paying less than I was. And he went, fine. So I'll give you it for that price. That's fine. So we got this whole farm for the same price as the little 2-bedroom flat. So this is a 4-bedroom farm.
It's a 4-bedroom house as well as the farm. So it's quite a good situation we're in. That's awesome. Not to say it's been without challenges.
We had no water.
We didn't have any water. We only had a year at a time lease for the first, until last October. So everything we did, we were constantly.
Everything was mobile. Yeah, so hence the mobile shop, and everything was mobile, so we could take it away if we had to go.
Okay, so then what's happened now? Have you negotiated a long-term lease?
So we've negotiated a 5-year lease. So we're here and we're sorted till 2024.